Of course not. And I don't know that anyone realistically believes that they do. They are in a far tougher division. Tom Brady goes from having to beat Josh Allen, Sam Darnold, and Ryan Fitzpatrick to having to beat Drew Brees, Matt Ryan, and Teddy Bridgewater. You go from having the #1 across-the-board defense in football last season to a defense last year that was good the final half of the year, but has not been consistently good year in, year out since Gruden was there, or since Tony Dungy handed the reins off to Gruden nearly 20 years ago. You go from the best coach and most consistent coaching staff in the entire NFL to a good coach. Now, Bruce Arians is a good coach, but he's obviously not Bill Belichick. And so the only upside for Brady as far as winning is he got out of Patrick Mahomes' conference, that you can, in theory, make the Super Bowl without having to play the Chiefs. But aside from that, everything just got harder for Tom. He knows that. And so it does beg the question to me, is winning, the famous quote, winning's not the main thing, it's the only thing? Well, I don't know if that's the case for Tom anymore. I think Tom, as it was demonstrated throughout all the great reporting since he has chosen the Bucs, wanted to be appreciated, his wife said, wanted to have fun at work. And so I think he obviously believes he can win in Tampa, but he clearly sacrificed some of the certainty of winning that goes along with playing for a Bill Belichick coach team for some of the freedom and maybe some of the respect that will go along with playing quarterback for Greg Jennings for a Bruce Arians coach team.
For me, I think it's all about the culture. There's two different cultures that Tom Brady is leaving and then walking into. One had established a winning culture. Championships was everything. It was the goal. It was how they went about doing their jobs. If you do your job, we win championships here in New England. Now he's going into a culture that's completely different. They have to learn how to win. They have to establish building blocks on what winning looks like. Mike McCarthy used to say it all the time, and I allude to it quite often. They have to learn how to stack success. When I was in Green Bay and I decided to go to the Minnesota Vikings, a rival, of course, I felt like we have the opportunity to win. We can do whatever I did and experience the things that I've experienced in Green Bay. But the reality was I didn't really know the inside of the culture, the way the general managers think, the way the organization from inside out looks and approaches winning. And what I mean by that is when I got to the Vikings, they were more so enthralled with beating the Packers versus winning championships. Yes, all 32 teams are going to say the championship is the goal, but not every single team in this National Football League understands how to go and approach that step by step by step as far as the process goes. And so that's going to be the #1 thing that changes for Tom Brady. We heard it in the press conference where they alluded to him coming down there and bringing some of that winning ways and that mentality and that approach that will change the culture, hopefully, to a winning culture. That's what's going to be on Tom Brady. On paper, they look great. On paper, the Cleveland Browns looked great last year. But look what happened there. And I think it all starts with Tom Brady. I love his approach, and I think they have a chance, but his odds of winning were much better in New England.
All right, Wildes, we've established that these are two very different organizations. We know the Bucs aren't the Patriots, and it'll be years before the Bucs or anyone else seemingly in the league become the Patriots. Is there any advantage Tom Brady gets by being with the Bucs now than he did with the Patriots at all?
Man, Jenna, I don't know. I listened to Bruce Arians on Rich Eisen's show yesterday. It's a great interview. I highly recommend it. And just to reflect on what Greg is saying, here's a quote that I pulled. Eisen asked him about the Super Bowl window. Like, your window is now. And Arians said, our players believe it. We have a chance to win our division. We've won it as a 6. Oh, then he talks about he said, we have a chance to get into the dance. So Patriots, we would talk about championship city, Celtics, Red Sox, Patriots. Now they're talking about like getting into the big dance. I think it's a whole nother world Tom Brady is stepping into.
All right, so the other thing that we learned yesterday from Tom Brady is that he himself knows that he's got a lot to learn by going to Tampa Bay. And it's not just everyone else learning his system. He's learning theirs. He said, quote, hopefully the knowledge and experience I have will allow me to transition quickly. Nick, how much should the Bucs adapt to Brady, and how much should Tom Brady be adapting to the Buccaneers and their system?
It's a great question, and it's going to have to be a combination. The question is it 50-50, 60-40, 80-20? And I want to dive into that. If I may just for a moment expand on Wildes and Greg's point, there's a great video people have seen, Belichick a couple years ago when they reached the Super Bowl, being handed the AFC Championship trophy, the Lamar Hunt trophy, and he almost throws it down. He just flips it to the side like, who wants this? Come on. This is not what we're here for. The Bucs, on the other hand, if they gave you a trophy for winning the NFC South, they would frame it in crystal glass at the front of the stadium because they've been out in the wilderness for so many years. So I think that does speak to the point of what does winning mean and how different teams have different definitions of what winning means. So how do the Bucs achieve ultimate winning, right? So who's going to have to adapt? Now to address Jenna's question directly, people are going to say, I think people will say, well, obviously the Bucs have to adapt to Tom. Tom's the GOAT. Tom's the one who's done it. Tom can be the teacher. And maybe on culture he can be. Maybe on how you don't look past an opponent he can be. But when it comes to style of play and when it comes to the way the offense is run, is it easier for one 20-year veteran football genius to adjust to 24 other people, or is it easier for 24 other people, some of whom are first and second and third year players, most of whom are not, don't have quite the football acumen of Tom Brady, to adjust their system? I think it's obviously easier for Brady to adjust with the minor tweaks, Greg, I would imagine being, listen, everyone pays attention to route precision, but now all of a sudden you're really going to have to pay attention to route precision. If I say 7, it means 7, not 8 or even 7.5. Those types of tweaks for Godwin and Evans will be, I think, adjustments. But overall, Greg, I think it's going to be Brady making the lion's share of the adjustments because the numbers would dictate that's what makes the most sense.
Yeah, Nick, you're 100% correct. I think you definitely have a quarterback who's obviously proven that he's smart. He's smart enough to make adjustments on the fly and mid-game, and given an off-season, he's definitely going to be able to make those adjustments with terminology and new verbiage. And so I think also it's the entire unit, the entire offensive unit. And why I say that is because you're going to have a different voice talking to you in the huddle, a voice that is not Jameis Winston, that is not Ryan Fitzpatrick. It is Tom Brady. The only difference about the voice that Tom Brady will be giving these Bucs and what he was giving the New England Patriots, the guys listening in New England were depending on Tom to do it. Now Tom's voice is a little different. They're relying on him to put them in position so that they can be special because they've been listening to everything. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, all these guys have been listening to everything. The offensive line, these tight ends, they've been listening to everything that has been said about Tom Brady and his lack of skilled guys around him. So what does that mean? That means, look, we can't let the GOAT down. So we're going to have to make sure we're coming back to the huddle. If he's being stressed with pressure, Tom, we're going to speed up these routes. We're going to cut them a little short. We're going to quicken things up so you can get rid of the ball. they have to look at him and not only allow for him to see their body language, but they have to see and assess his body language and say, Tom, we got you. Because in this stage in his career, he's going to rely more on them lifting him up than he lifting them up.
Wildes, one of the things I love about you is that you worry about things almost as much as I do. You're actually worried about Tom Brady, right? That's what I'm understanding from what we're talking about.
Well, as soon as Greg started talking about pressure in the pocket, I started to get a little bit nervous, like all the Patriots nations, like Robert Kraft as well. Robert Kraft took out this big article. The Kraft family took out this big ad in Tampa Bay Tribune and said, take care of him. And I was like, uh-oh, that hasn't even crossed my mind that we're not going to take care of him. Because Tom Brady is beloved, but he's also very, very fragile. He led the league with 44 throwaways. Guys come in like, get rid of it, I'm out. Nick's boy, Patrick Mahomes, 22. Our guy, Jimmy G, 12 throwaways. Like, those guys just aren't throwing away. Tom Brady, he doesn't want to get hit, Greg. And I'm very, very nervous that in Bruce Arians' system, the guy's going to get hit. The scariest stat in the world is since 2007, Big Ben, Andrew Luck, Carson Palmer, and Jameis got sacked 508 times. Tom Brady got sacked only 300 times, 318, 200 more sacks. I just want Bruce Arians to keep Tom Brady safe, please.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.